Welcome back to The Watch, and Warhammer 40k, man. Like, what a
Evil company.
disaster this is turning into. And it's a tragic disaster because it has such a cool, lore that people could get into if the company just wasn't insane.
You see, I actually disagree.
Do you?
I do. Arch brought up a really good, interesting point. I was halfway there, but he showed the other half and fully made me realize what it was that was the correct tactic I was kind of getting onto, but he pulled the full way.
While we're there then, shout out to Arch. I've really been enjoying his content, even though Dev is a raging communist. I think we can forgive him for that. And I still like you, Dev. It's okay. It's okay that you're just so much of a communist. I mean, probably one of the biggest communists I've ever seen, Dev.
Look, there are worse things a person can be. Like Canadian, for example.
I know, right?
Luckily, he's not Canadian.
If he was if you were both, like a communist, and not just a communist, I'm talking about a raging, unforgiving, communist to the extreme communist, right? Combine that with being Canadian, the only thing worse if there was some type of French component comprised into that.
Yeah. But there is one redeeming factor about Canadians.
What's that?
The Canadian healthcare system.
They are trying to solve some of the solution.
Yes, so thank you, Canada, for getting rid of Canadians.
We love you, Dev. And Archcast, check him out.
Yeah.
Great.
So there was the Custodes thing.
Yes. So, bit of background. Games Workshop, they've been trying to say that Custodes were always female, always had female members in them, right? When that is not what the law ever even indicated, let alone said explicitly.
It said the exact opposite, in fact. It's only men, sons taken from noble families. They have, for 30 years, only ever shown men. It's always been men. And then they changed in the most recent thing, finally caving into pressure. And then on Twitter, when asked, why did you change it? They said, in regards to female Custodes, there have always been female Custodes ever since the first 10,000 were created.
So I think, I've caught some of what Arch has been saying about it. And one of the original tactics when they change things is no, the change is good and it's appropriate, modern day, all that stuff. But now their new tactic is to gaslight and just say, it's always been that way.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's not going to work with 40k ever. And, in fact, Arch's tactic, he said he's moved away from not just don't buy it, don't spend money at Games Workshop. Us, the fans, need to destroy it. We need to do everything we can to make sure that it dies. Because guess what happens if Games Workshop dies? Everything that came before remains. And they won't stop 3D printing. In fact, their lawyers not being hunting down 3D printers and model makers.
Could have made it more open source even.
Exactly. Because
interesting.
I have 3 terabytes of, Warhammer models.
There's a couple of caveats I want to mention, right? The Custodes never needed to have female, representation, because Warhammer has had female representation. You got the Sisters of Battle, okay? Why do they need the representation in the Custodes specifically, right?
Well, I got the Sisters of Silence, who literally are an addition to the Custodes army.
It's because of an ideological belief where they need representation in everything. But also, there is some rumors that this could be the influence of Amazon, because the 40k TV show that Henry Cavill is a part of being produced is being funded by Amazon, and Amazon has very specific tick boxes.
Yeah.
These are rumors, unsubstantiated, because one of the rumors is that Henry has been opposed to it, and he has even threatened leaving the project if they try and force this change. Don't know if that's confirmed or not, but that it's Amazon could be influencing this, that then Warhammer is trying to soften the blow or couch the changes that the TV show might have by trying to change the law preemptively to explain the representation that Amazon is forcing in the property.
Well, we have no way of knowing whether Amazon, at least for now, we have no way of knowing whether Amazon is the reason. We know for certain it's the left.
Well, the thing is, though, we know for certain Amazon has a diversity policy. We've covered this on the channel, where they have to have X representation in their shows. Guaranteed.
Yes. However, I've read many Games Workshop books, Warhammer 40k books, and towards the latter end of the books coming out, every non-Space Marine character is a woman, basically. And everyone that isn't is incompetent or stupid or no nobility whatsoever.
And this is the thing, right? We've said this multiple times, but because people who want to try and push this ideology are so disingenuous, we always need to kind of couch their and preempt their attacks, because they'll try and say, oh, you're just anti-woman. I was like, no, there are female action heroes that we love. There are female factions that are great. It already has a representation. What we are against is this forced diversity where it changes pre-existing law and pre-existing properties for an agenda. And if that's the main guiding principle when there is ideology put at the forefront over making a good story, it has been a massive red flag to indicate what they are going to make is going to be dog crap, because they don't have talented people working on it, they have ideologues working on it. And that has been the basic standard for years now, with only the couple of exceptions where those red flags ended up being false flags, basically.
Well, which one's that?
House of the Dragon, Dungeons and Dragons film, like red flags, but it ended up being great and it wasn't drowned in progressive. But those are minor exceptions where overall these warning signs are very accurate to indicating they are about to make something dog crap and ruin a property that we love.
Yeah. Thing is, though, they've been trying to ruin it and have been successfully ruining it long before Amazon ever came into the conversation.
Yeah.
And so I don't at this point, I don't care if it has anything to do with Amazon or anyone else. I know exactly where it comes from, the left. And they were very progressive long before Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing, right? Warhammer fans, the true Warhammer fans, will always reject this because the law literally trained us to be anti-invasion, anti-infiltration. That is the entire modus operandi and lifestyle culture of the humans in Warhammer 40k. There's so many quotes.
Yeah, you have some quotes that this is from some more old school kind of Warhammer books and stuff, you're saying?
Yeah. Okay. So there was one. Where is it? It's up here. Here we go. The rewards of tolerance are treachery and betrayal. That's in a rule book.
That's in a rule book.
That's in a rule book.
Now, hang on. This is the thing, right? I don't believe being tolerant in every case will always lead to treachery and betrayal. But if we look at the recent examples of people being tolerant of other people's kind of agendas, it has led to treachery and betrayal, where they literally, it's happened time and time again when they say, bring us in for representation and everything, then they try and change it, and then they even say it was never meant for you in the first place. It happened with X-Men recently, when they said X-Men was made for everyone to begin with, so you have to tolerate and accept all different things into it. And then there was, who was, I forget, she was one of those silly people that tried to call Nerdrotic out for not liking Doctor Who or something like that. But they literally say this was never meant for Republicans or conservative types people, right? Where they actually get in and then they betray the core audience originally and try and exclude them, saying this is only for the progressive crowd. And so there's actually examples of that treachery and betrayal more recently.
And it's funny, they say X-Men is for everyone, yet it's X-Men that is the audience they're trying to garner.
I don't get it.
X-Men.
X-Men. Okay, yeah. Okay.
There you go. Okay, so this one's just badass about faith. Blessed is the mind too small to doubt. So basically, just have faith. Anyway,
I'm not sure I like the quote, but I can see what you're getting from it.
So basically,
yeah, I get it.
It's separate. It's so antithetical to the left, like literally antithetical to progressivism. Here's one that's another maxim. He who allows the alien to live shares in the crime of its existence. Yeah.
Of course, they're phrased in a very extreme way.
Yeah. And I had my mate literally take a photo of it in the...
And this is in Warhammer. Right?
This is Warhammer 40k, just the rule books. I had my mate take a photo just to make sure that it wasn't literally a reworded quote from Mein Kampf, okay? The more I learn about these aliens, the more I come to understand what drives them, the more I hate them. I hate them for what they are and what they may one day become. I hate them not because they hate us, but they are incapable of good human hatred. That's something straight out of Mein Kampf.
It feels like that. Like, Warhammer 40k doesn't seem like a very progressive kind of universe, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but so they want to make it more progressive when the entire universe is structured around... even sometimes, emulating certain bad factions of the past.
The only way they could.
By the way, we are not endorsing these statements by any means. We're pointing out that the Warhammer lore is built around a certain type of.
It's a fictional universe.
Fictional universe, right?
The first thing on every book is, it is the bloodiest, cruelest regime imaginable.
Yeah, I
That doesn't sound fun.
I know, and a universe like this, especially a faction that has ideology like that, doesn't strike me like the type of faction that would be very accepting and open to the lifestyles that they feel.
No,
Like,
because
in actual fact, it feels like that ideology would go way far and further extreme than I would ever say is okay.
yeah.
Ever, not even come close to saying is okay.
And
but when you're saying that this law is antithetical to the progressive kind of thing, that's, the quotes are there.
Here's another one that the left would like to attribute to you.
Oh, really?
If you can confront the Xenos, look upon the Xenos, even think about the Xenos without revulsion, then you're as damned as they are. They would have told you that you said that about gay people.
They would actually.
But no.
But that, like, again, because they want to make us out as the extremists. That's how they win, by straw manning and stuff like that. Because my statement was that I, as a straight man, I'm not attracted to other men. Therefore, I find sexual actions of other men depicted in front of me repulsive. I find gay sex repulsive. That was the line that triggered them. And then they tried to accuse me of saying I find gay people repulsive as a result, which is bullcrap nonsense, right? But they want us to be the evil extremists, okay, and they can only win by lying.
Contact with alien races always renews one's faith in humanity. It is my belief that foreign travel narrows the mind wonderfully. You want this, progressives? Try and take it from us.
I think they're going to have trouble trying to make this universe more progressive.
It will literally have to be the exact opposite.
Like, the entire universe is built around intolerance, it seems like.
Literally, every race is trying to kill, eat, or assimilate it into itself without any changes.
Yeah.
So here's another one. This one is actually based. No army is big enough to conquer the galaxy, but faith alone can overturn the universe. Fine.
Okay, yeah, I would agree with that one.
All right, what else we got? But this is the thing, right? So, again, the destruction of Games Workshop would do nothing but be good for Warhammer 40k. Because the biggest enemy of Warhammer 40k is Games Workshop.
Is the own company that owns it now.
Yeah. They literally...
They like... Because this is the thing. They don't understand parody. Right? They think because there are statements like this in a fictional, faction, right? That must be the company endorsing it, and they can't separate. And I bet there would even be disingenuous scumbags saying, because we're reading out quotes like that they would then accuse us that we endorse all these quotes, even though in this very video I've been saying, well, I don't agree here, I don't agree there, and not endorsing anything except for that one about faith, right? But they would do that because they can't separate it. They think you merely even saying it is an endorsement, and they can't then own a faction, a fictional faction that is evil, right? Because they think that then means they're endorsing it.
Yes. Here's the thing, though. In the Warhammer 40k universe, it is entirely reasonable. In 40k, it is... No, literally it is. Like, if you know anything about the lore, it is entirely reasonable. Basically, the majority of humanity knows that there are literally dark gods waiting for them to eat their souls. They need faith and hatred to stop the Xeno, the demon, the heretic, because they're literally humanity is everywhere.
Well, see,
and we're beset everywhere from everything.
This is the thing, though. The activists will not be able to separate your statement about in-universes versus out. They will
That's their problem.
I know, it's their problem, but that's what they do, because they can't separate it. And that's the problem that Games Workshop is having with their own property and the activists, because they'll think the fact that you're trying to say in-universe, you can understand why people have those philosophies. They'll think you're trying to justify those philosophies in the real world, which no, we're friggin' not. Stop being stupid. We're understanding this is a fictional world, right?
The only, but here's the thing, right? The only thing that it says to purge, to destroy, to genocide is things that don't exist. If you're in the Imperium, if you're a human being,
well, this
you're
is
equal to...
If there is like an alien race hellbent on wiping out my existence and my race, my response is to kill them, destroy them. Like, that's to save yourself, you need to do that. That's like the whole defense of the bugs in Starship Troopers. Bonkers, right?
Yeah.
It's a genocidal, crazy, evil race hellbent on the destruction of mankind. Yeah, genocide that evil alien race trying to kill you.
So in this setting, there's space elves, right? They're called the Eldar. they had most of the galaxy, and in their time being immortal and, going through pleasure cycles to worse and worse things, they accidentally created a dark god of perversion and sex. Half their race is running around trying to survive. The other half of their race needs to torture things to feed off their pain so they can survive. Like this, and other than that, there's orcs that their entire way of life is fighting.
They reproduce through violence. Their blood is spores that grow more orcs.
It's literally genetically programmed into them to fight.
Yeah.
And do nothing but that, to find it fun, to find a thing that reproduces them, and they're based.
It's such an interesting faction idea, the orcs in 40k. Like for a setting that needs like a race of just violent creatures, the way they constructed the orcs are really, really fun.
Yeah, and so between that and immortal gods that want to eat everything and every person that's ever lived, there's humanity. And there's a god who says, well, supposedly a god, who says, only in death does duty end, fight for humanity, that's it. And don't let the people trying to eat us in.
So the takeaway is that 40k's very DNA basically is antithetical to the woke ideology. And so they either have to destroy it all to remake it in their own image, which the fans will abandon then, or they have to just abandon it and leave it alone.
But here's the last point that I'll have, right? The biggest point that all of Warhammer drives home is that of the alien and the mutant and the heretic, the worst of all of them is the heretic. Because the heretic attacks from inside. The heretic could be anyone. And they can sabotage things in a million different ways and direct things in a million different ways.
Destruction from inside is harder to detect.
Exactly.
Overt, statements of destruction from outside.
Yes, and so that's why when it started happening, we detected it immediately. And it's not going to work because, like every single person in the Imperium of Mankind would do, they would gladly destroy every planet that they have and send every one of their people into the pyre rather than let the enemy win. Because if the enemy wins, humanity loses everything. So it's worth the act.
I mean, I still hold the philosophy that it is better to lose and keep your standards pure than to win by compromising them.
And they say exactly the same thing.
Do they?
That is literally their motto.
Is it?
Yes.
Because it sounded like that was more win at all costs.
No. Literally, they would rather die than let the enemy win. You say it's better to die keeping your standards. Their standards is don't let the enemy win.
Okay. But very interesting thing, 40k. And I wonder where it will go, but we will see, because that's what we do. Stay on watch.